Hello and welcome to this episode of The Guido Goes Off. As you saw in the probably in the byline of this, this is where I yearly talk about Pro Wrestling Illustrated's PWI 500, and of course the people involved. Now I'm sure everybody knows by now, but for those of you who don't know, PWI, or Pro Wrestling Illustrated, is a professional wrestling magazine. Now, it still goes in a kayfabe way of doing it, but it's still a very good wrestling magazine. And, of course, it's pretty influential as it determines what is a world title and what have you. Every year, they rank the top 500 male professional wrestlers. They also have a female equivalent called the Female 50, which will probably come out later on this year. Of course, now, how does it go by? As always, it goes by a grading period of, I believe, it goes from June 30th to June 30th. I could be wrong, but yeah, it goes for a whole year. They ranked win-loss record. Yes, wins and losses do matter. Notable titles held, significant victories, strength of opponent, value to the promotion, and I'm sure there's some other ones, but I don't have that list with me right now. Now, I'm not going to go through the entire PWI 500 for two reasons. One, I don't have it with me. And two, this will be a very long episode, and we all don't want that. I don't know if I can sit on my butt for that long. But I will, of course, cut down to what I do know, which is the top 10. Pretty interesting list. Very surprising in some aspects. And I do think this is very interesting. It's other than a couple of spots, it's pretty much all WWE talent, which is, of course, NXT is included in that. So I think it does lend itself to a very interesting list here, because it's basically saying Global Force was okay, Ring of Honor was okay, but let's face it, but it's basically, I think, turmoil involving titles and talent in Global Force, as well as Ring of Honor. As we all know, a lot of Ring of Honor talent has made its way to WWE as of late. But without further ado, let's get to the top 10. Starting with number 10, I'm surprised that this person is this low, to be honest with you. Number 10 is The Miz. I've been saying this quite a bit as of late. The Miz he's been having almost a career renaissance. He's hotter right now than he's ever been in his entire career. Now, most of that grading period, for a good portion of the grading period, he was Intercontinental Champion. He was having great matches. Of course, his promos, he is on point right now. As far as getting the message across, and a lot of people, and it's resonating with a lot of fans right now. Now he's has had some significant victories, of course. Taking the title from Dean Ambrose, losing the title to Dean Ambrose too, but also his feud with John Cena, which brought in Maurice and Nikki Bella for WrestleMania. But like I said, for the most part, he's really been on a tear. I thought he would be higher on this list, but I'd still say the top 10, it's a very good place for him. Number 10, The Miz. Moving on. Number 9, Bobby Roode, of course, from NXT. So So his jump to WWE, since it was after SummerSlam, would have been after the grading period. So this is all going by his NXT. You know, his, having a great showing so far in NXT, and of course, his, let's see, what was it? Was it Takeover Orlando he won the NXT Championship, or was it two? Either way, holding this, what pretty much got him on number 9 was having a great run in NXT, and of course, holding the NXT Championship. I want to say 6 months, no, I say 4 or 5 months of the grading period. He didn't lose until after the grading period was over, so he held this for a significant amount of time, and of course, I think honestly he's in the top 10 for entrance alone, which you can't go wrong with his entrance, with his theme music, and please, dear God, don't let WWE change this whatsoever, please. But it's clear that lengthy NXT title reign did help him in this case. So, number 9, Bobby Roode. Number 8, Samoa Joe. Clearly, most of this would be his NXT run. As we know, he went back and forth with Nakamura for the NXT Championship, losing it, then winning it, and then unfortunately losing it again, moving on to the main roster, where basically, since he's been there, he's been in the conversation where the Universal title has been concerned. Now, of course, he hasn't had a run with a title on the main roster yet, but given that he's only been there a few months, I think it's only a matter of time. Joe has been a champion and has been top tier no matter where he's gone, and I don't see that trend ending anytime soon as far as WWE is concerned. I think much like Bobby Roode, this Samoa Joe's place on this list is mostly with holding the NXT Championship, but it's going to, of course, we all know things change. And so, him jump up to the main roster and being at that top level. And I think Great Balls of Fire was in the grading period, so his feud with Brock Lesnar is part of the grading period. So it makes sense hopping him up there, not just holding the NXT title in the grading period, but also being in a Universal title match. So number 8, Samoa Joe. Number 7, well, some people love him, some people hate him, but but nobody can argue how hard the man works in WWE, and that is Dean Ambrose. For most of the grading period, he was the WWE Intercontinental Champion. Of course, having the feud with Miz, feud with Baron Corbin, which led to WrestleMania kickoff show match. Odd. And now I know he gets a lot of flack because a lot of people say he's lazy. The man wrestled over 2,000 matches in both of the past 2 years. He's clearly one of the workhorses of the company. Does make a lot of people look good. But like I said, he was spinning his wheels in a feud with The Miz, and probably took a little too long. Of course, now with him and Seth as the tag team champions, Shield fans are rejoicing, throwing babies in the air, all of that. But he did have a good singles run over the grading period, and I think this is around where he was last year, even though he was WWE champion. So, Okay, so number 7, Dean Ambrose. Number 6, Again, another NXT WWE jump within the grading period, but I think this has more to do with NXT. Number 6, Shinsuke Nakamura. Uh, like I said, for a good portion, at least the early part of the grading period, he was the NXT champion. So he was, taking it from Samoa Joe, then holding for a while, and then losing it again. Then losing it to Joe, the back and forth with Joe, and being the standard bearer for NXT for a good majority of the time, does lend itself to being a pretty good year, I would say. As we all know, now his match with Jinder Mahal since SummerSlam is past the grading period. That doesn't count, but the man made an impact. The man, I think this is all basically weighing on his NXT time of the grading period, because I don't want to say he hasn't done much in WWE, but he hasn't done much in WWE yet. Yet! I stress, yet! So number 6, Shinsuke Nakamura. Number 5, someone who I thought would be a hell of a lot higher on this list, because this man has had an incredible year as well. That being the cleaner Kenny Omega. Very divisive figure in the wrestling community, given some of his earlier stuff in Japan, but you can't argue with the facts. Last year's winning the G1 Climax tournament, the first North American to do so. He's only the 3rd North American to have been in the finals. And he made the finals again this year, unfortunately losing to Tetsuya Naito. But then, the series he's had with Okada. Unfortunately, only 2 of the 3 matches they've had, at least so far this year, were in the grading period. Of course, that being the championship match at Wrestle Kingdom and another championship match again at Dominion. And also in the grading period, he became the first ever IWGP United States champion, which marked a very interesting point in wrestling history, where both the US titles of New Japan and WWE were held by Canadians. Yeah, North, I don't get it either. But you cannot argue with the fact. In fact, with Meltzer giving the Wrestle Kingdom match 6 stars and the Dominion match 6.5 stars, it was clear that this was and of course, between the 2 epic matches with Okada, he's had a heck of a lot of great matches this year. Winning, winning the tournament to be the first New Japan United States champion, but of course the crown jewel of his year, winning the G1 Climax tournament, always a huge honor, especially being basically the first Gaijin to do it. No one else has. So, I'd say pretty good year. So number 5, Kenny Omega. Number 4, Roman Reigns. He has not been a champion. Well, he was the United States champion for the early part of it. And then, of course, there's his WrestleMania match with The Undertaker. But he's not been a top champion, but he's always been in the conversation. Of course, his huge match with The Undertaker. He's had a lot of top-tier matches this year. And it's hard to argue with success. As far as that goes, he's done very well this year. But like I said, it hasn't culminated in gold. So I can see why he's number 4. Of course, I think this is mostly the kids love him. There's people that love him. He sells merch. He's important to the company. This is where importance to the brand makes weighs in, because whether or not a lot of us like it, Roman Reigns is very popular with certain fans, and he makes the company money, and you can't argue with that. I think I brought this up like a couple of years ago when Nikki Bella was the number one in the female 50 minutes. Whether you like it, whether you don't, he's in the top 5 as far as wrestlers in the world. So number 4, Roman Reigns. Number 3, Kevin Owens. Reason why. The Universal title reign that everybody complains about. As we know, for most of the grading period, I think it was, I forget how long he held it. From a couple weeks after SummerSlam to the Royal Rumble, Kevin Owens was the Universal Champion, only the second. So still has technically the longest reign as the Universal Champion. Of course, that was also with the help of Chris Jericho and that dynamic, and then the United States title reign after that. So for most of the grading period, Kevin Owens has held gold. So, yeah, always a good thing. Kevin Owens. There's a lot of people that complain about him, but Kevin Owens is very good at his job, and that job is making you hate him. But like I said, in this case, it's going to be his level where is obviously clearly at the top of the card as the Universal Champion for a good portion of the grading period, and he held gold for most of the grading period in and of itself. I think it was after the grading period of the infamous match in MSG where he won where he lost to AJ Styles in pretty much shocking fashion. So your winner, so number 3, Kevin Owens. I think it's right where he needs to be, given he was Universal Champion for quite a long time. I mean, it wasn't the entire grading period, or he probably would have been much higher. Might have even been number 1 if it was that long. Number 2, AJ Styles. I mean, need we say more? The man held the WWE Championship for a good portion of the grading period. I mean, a decent portion. I forget when he won it. I think he won it from John Cena. Then, of course, lost it at Elimination Chamber, where he wasn't even involved in the finish. But, again, he's had top-tier matches. Of course, Speed with John Cena was part of the grading period. Also, where the title run comes into play. I believe he took the title from Cena and kept it. And so, yay. And so, and of course, top-notch matches with Cena, with Shane, the Elimination Chamber match. And then, of course, basically requesting, wanting to stay on SmackDown because he loved what he does, and I think it was really a good year for him. I mean, clearly he was, so if he's number 2 on the PWI 500. I can't really argue with that placement, but again, it's all he's one of the top talents out there, and he's had a great year. So of course, that place is great. Number 2, AJ Styles, which leads me to number 1. This is a history This is basically this is a historical mark because it's the first time a Japanese wrestler has topped the PWI 500, and I can't say that no one deserves it more this year than the Rainmaker himself, Kazuchika Okada, from New Japan Pro Wrestling. It's the first time a Japanese wrestler has topped the PWI 500, and the man's had an incredible year, and that entire year he was the IWGP World Champion. He has taken on everybody. I think he took on Tanahashi. He took on Omega twice for it, which is why I think Omega ranked so high this year. He's just had incredible matches with top tier talent all over the both domestic and foreign. It's clear he is the best wrestler not in WWE, and he showcased it this year. If you've seen any of those matches with Omega, if you've seen any I think he had a match with Shibata, which was where Shibata was injured, and just had to take a significant amount of time off if he's even able to wrestle again. I think I had a match with Tanahashi in there, and like I said, it's banner year, and I think and he's clearly the ace, the face of New Japan Pro Wrestling, and he has represented the company very well. I mean, this is a company that's now dipping its toes in American waters, and it's because he is one of the big reasons why. I mean, he had an incredible career setback when he came to TNA and was basically Samoa Joe's Virgil. There's no other way for me to describe him. He's Samoa Joe's Virgil. But then coming back, and then the tear he's been on. I think this is his fourth reign. If I'm wrong, please correct me. We got a comment section for this. I think this is his fourth reign as IWGP World Champion. And the man has earned it, and the man carries it well. He has basically taken the company onto his back and is carrying it into this new age where New Japan is clearly on the world stage as far as professional wrestling goes. But like I said, this was a no-brainer, given the year he's had, given the importance he's had, and New Japan is now growing, and it's basically because of his efforts. I'm not sure we'd all like to think the Bullet Club had something to do with it. It probably does, but for the most part, Okada is the face of New Japan, and it's a good face to have because he's carrying that company forward. So number one of the PWI of the 2017 PWI 500, Kazuchika Okada. Great call. I do think there's some people who should be higher. I think The Miz should be in top 5, given the year he's had, given his influence. But like I said, it's a good list this year, at least the top 10. This is where these are the what should be no-brainers, but I'm sure there's still a lot of jockeying. After that, it's after the first 100. I don't know who Mr. 500 is this year. Usually, let me check. Let me check for you guys because you guys are awesome. Let's see if I've gone on for a while. Yeah, never mind. We're going to go on. Who Mr. 500 is, I don't know who that is. We'll find out. But what do you think of this year's PW 500, at least where the top 10 is concerned? Who do you think should have been in the top 10? Do you think some people should be higher or some people should be lower? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And as always, you can talk to me via my social media. And of course, as always, please like this video, share it with your friends, and if you haven't already, do subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications. And once again, I thank you for watching. And until next time, I am the Guido, and I think we're done here.